Have you ever had that eerie feeling that you've lived this exact moment before? Not just déjà vu, but something deeper, like a glitch in the fabric of your own timeline? What if that sensation isn't a trick of memory, but a clue? A tiny ripple from a much larger hidden cycle, one that keeps replaying reality itself. Quantum physics, for decades, has whispered a dangerous idea, that time might not flow forward at all. It could be looping, folding, even replaying, trapping us in a cosmic feedback system that we mistake for linear life. But here's where it gets unsettling. Recent quantum experiments suggest that causes and effects might actually swap places, that the future could influence the past. And if that's true, what does it mean for free will, for memory, for the idea that our choices shape tomorrow rather than echo yesterday? Most people think loops belong to science fiction. Time travel movies, paradox stories, things safely kept on screen. But inside real laboratories with photons, electrons, and entangled states, scientists have started catching glimpses of something that feels disturbingly cyclical. The data looks less like a straight line and more like a Mobius strip, one side endlessly twisting back into itself. So the question isn't just whether we could be trapped in a quantum loop. The question is, how would we ever know? Because if time keeps rewriting itself, maybe what you're hearing right now has already happened. To understand how we might be living inside a quantum loop, we first need to dismantle one of our oldest assumptions, that time moves like an arrow, straightforward, irreversible. But at the quantum level, that arrow starts to blur. In the equations that govern particles, Schrödinger's equation, for example, time doesn't have a direction. Whether you move it forward or backward, the math still works. A photon doesn't seem to care whether it's heading toward the future or retracing its steps into the past. That alone is strange enough. But experiments have started showing that this isn't just a mathematical curiosity, it's real. Take the delayed choice quantum eraser. In this experiment, a photon passes through a double slit, creating an interference pattern, the classic sign that it's behaving like a wave. But here's the twist. Scientists decide after the photon has passed the slits whether to observe it as a wave or a particle. And unbelievably, the photon seems to know what they'll choose, as if information from the future leaks backward in time, rewriting its earlier behavior. If that doesn't make you pause, there's more. Some interpretations, like the two-state vector formalism, propose that every quantum event is defined by influences from both directions, the past and the future. Picture a handshake through time, one hand reaching forward, the other reaching back, meeting in the middle to decide what reality becomes. In this model, the universe isn't simply evolving forward. It's self-consistent. It adjusts itself in loops, ensuring that every event aligns with both its origins and its outcomes. Think of reality less like a film strip rolling forward, and more like a self-editing loop of footage, constantly adjusting to maintain coherence between past and future frames. And if these micro-loops exist, at the level of particles and light, what happens when they scale upward? Could our choices, our memories, even history itself be part of a grander, recursive computation, one that refines itself endlessly, replaying until it fits a perfect symmetry? It sounds abstract, but the evidence keeps piling up, hinting that causality itself might be flexible. And if causality bends, then so might the very structure of time. But here's where the loop tightens, literally. What if these microscopic cycles aren't just mathematical curiosities, but echoes of something much larger, a cosmic feedback system that we're already part of? Let's strip away the comfort of before and after. Because what if those words are nothing more than linguistic illusions, artifacts of how our brains evolved to survive, not how the universe actually works? Imagine this. You're standing in a quiet room, holding a laser pointer aimed at a small mirror. You press the button, the light bounces, and a fraction of a second later, you see the red dot return to your hand. Simple, right? Cause, then effect. But here's the unsettling part. Quantum theory says that the light's journey doesn't unfold like a neat line between 2 points. It explores every possible path between your hand and the mirror, forward, backward, sideways in time, before settling into a version that's consistent with your observation. In other words, that flash of light might have known where it needed to land before you even pressed the button. This isn't science fiction. In quantum mechanics, reality is built not by single events, but by probabilities that only solidify when they're observed. Yet, observation doesn't necessarily come after the event. It's part of the event, retroactively determining what was real. That means the universe may not be a chain of causes creating effects, but a self-correcting tapestry, where every thread adjusts to maintain the integrity of the whole pattern. Our perception of forward motion could be a side effect of consciousness moving along one consistent version of that tapestry. Physicist Yakir Aharonov once said that we've been looking at half the equation. His view suggests that quantum systems are defined not just by their starting points, but by their end points as well. Every moment, from the birth of the universe to your next decision, might be the result of a negotiation between what has already happened and what must eventually happen. If that's true, then now isn't a single point. It's a boundary, a meeting zone where both temporal directions collide and balance. We feel time flowing because our consciousness rides that boundary like a surfer on a standing wave, always moving, yet always in the same place. And if that's what's happening, then perhaps every instant, every conversation, every discovery, even this one, is being constantly recalculated until it perfectly fits the grand, closed loop of existence. But that leads to a disturbing question that no physicist has truly answered yet. If time loops, who or what is doing the editing? If we're truly trapped in a quantum loop, we shouldn't just feel it. We should see its fingerprints in the data. And oddly enough, we do. The evidence isn't hiding in science fiction. It's woven into 4 tiers of discovery that physicists have been quietly unraveling for decades. Step 1. The time-symmetric equations. From Schrödinger's wave function to Maxwell's equations, the core language of physics refuses to pick a direction. They work perfectly whether time flows forward or backward. The only reason we think time moves one way is because of entropy, disorder increasing. But even that may be an illusion born from incomplete information. If entropy defines our experience, then maybe what we call past and future are simply the directions in which information happens to unfold. Step 2. The delayed choice and quantum eraser experiments. We already touched on this, but it's worth repeating for scale. Experiments at the University of Vienna, at ANU, and by NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab all suggest that particles respond to measurements that haven't yet happened. Retrocausality isn't fantasy. It's been observed. The future can, in some measurable sense, rewrite the past. Step 3. Entanglement and non-locality. When 2 particles are entangled, measuring one instantly determines the state of the other, even if they're light years apart. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But if you look closely, the effect might not be traveling through space. It might be occurring outside time altogether. A timeless link. Loops within loops. Step 4. The quantum gravity frontier. In the emerging theories of loop quantum gravity and the holographic universe, space-time itself is granular, built from discrete quanta of geometry that constantly reconnect and self-correct. These aren't static. They evolve through self-consistent feedback, not unlike a looped computation. Some models even suggest that the Big Bang wasn't a beginning, but a bounce, the latest turn in an eternal oscillation of universes expanding, collapsing, and rewriting themselves. When you stack these 4 layers, the pattern becomes almost impossible to ignore. Reality, from its equations to its deepest architecture, behaves like a recursive process, one where the outcome refines the input over and over until harmony is reached. And if that's what the universe is in a self-refining, self-referential system, then maybe time isn't the stage we move across. Maybe it's the algorithm correcting itself through us. But here's the riddle that cracks the whole concept open. If the universe is correcting its own timeline, what happens when consciousness becomes aware of the correction? If time loops, if cause and effect bend to symmetry rather than direction, then what happens to us, the beings who believe we're moving forward? We live as if every choice pushes us into a new branch of the future. You wake up, decide what to eat, where to go, what to say, each decision carving a unique path, an arrow pointing outward. But in a self-correcting quantum universe, your decisions might not be free explorations at all. They might be alignments, subtle recalibrations made to keep the loop stable. You're not steering through time. You're keeping it consistent. That idea shatters something deep. Free will, as we experience it, could be the feeling of participating in the universe's own correction algorithm. We feel like we're choosing, but maybe what we're really doing is resolving conflicts between versions of reality that must agree with one another. Like a violin tuning itself mid-song to stay in harmony, your choices could be the way reality maintains its coherence. Philosophers have brushed this mystery for centuries. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, the Buddhist cycle of samsara, the Mayan concept of repeating epochs. Even the Stoics, who believed that the universe breathes in and out in cycles of cosmic fire and rebirth, they all spoke of repetition, of an infinite return. But quantum theory gives this ancient intuition a mathematical backbone. If the wave function truly describes all possible histories and futures at once, and observation collapses them into one self-consistent narrative, then consciousness isn't a bystander. It's a mechanism. The observer isn't the audience. It's part of the projector. Without you, the loop can't close. That means you're not separate from the process. You are the process. Every thought, every emotion, every sudden realization, every regret, they're not just personal experiences. They're micro-adjustments in the self-correcting structure of existence. When you rethink a past decision, maybe you're not mentally time-traveling. Maybe you're literally helping the loop converge toward a version of reality where all contradictions cancel out. And then there's memory. We assume remembering means retrieving a file from the brain, replaying stored data. But what if remembering is actually a kind of quantum synchronization? You aligning yourself with the correct version of the timeline where that event still exists. That would mean the past isn't behind you. It's concurrent with you, still unfolding, but from another angle of the loop. The implication is staggering. Memory may not be a record. It may be a portal. Every time you remember, you're momentarily connected to another layer of the same cosmic event, one that ensures coherence between what was and what is. Now imagine what that means for destiny. In a looping universe, destiny isn't a predetermined script. It's a stability condition. The universe must reach coherence. Every loop must agree with itself. That's not fate in the mythological sense. It's physics seeking balance. You don't act because something is written. You act because your actions maintain the writing. Critics, of course, call all of this romantic pseudoscience. They point to thermodynamics, to entropy, to statistical probability, the steady climb of disorder that seems to define time's arrow. But even they admit something strange. The fundamental equations don't forbid reversal. They only forbid our perception of it. The math allows loops. It's our cognition that insists on lines. So maybe the question isn't whether time loops, but why we're wired not to notice. Maybe forgetting is necessary for the loop to function. If we remembered every cycle perfectly, we'd interfere with the process, like an actor suddenly realizing they're trapped inside an endlessly repeating play. And that might be the cruelest, or the most compassionate, design of all. The loop protects itself through ignorance. Awareness breaks the rhythm, yet awareness is also evolution. Each loop perhaps allows consciousness to see a little more of itself before the curtain falls and the next performance begins, which raises a dangerous thought. If the loop depends on self-consistency, could realizing we're in one begin to break it? Or is that realization itself just another correction, one the universe already accounted for, long before we ever noticed? If the universe is caught in a feedback loop, then the next logical step is terrifying and exhilarating. We might soon see it happen. Not as metaphor, as data. Quantum computers are the first machines built to speak the same language as the universe itself: superposition, entanglement, reversibility. When researchers at Google, IBM, and the University of Sussex run certain quantum algorithms, they've noticed something uncanny. The computation can reverse itself mid-process, restoring earlier states without losing coherence. It's as if the system remembers where it came from, a miniature temporal correction inside the circuit. Now imagine that on a cosmic scale. Every quantum processor is a sandbox version of the universe's own logic. If time truly loops, quantum computing might be our first instrument capable of touching that cycle, replaying calculations until reality itself agrees. Artificial intelligence adds another layer. Quantum AI isn't just about speed, it's about prediction. Theoretically, a quantum-trained AI could process information both forward and backward through its computational timeline, updating decisions not just based on past data, but on future consistency. That means it could, in principle, anticipate events that haven't occurred, not through magic, but through temporal symmetry. We're already seeing hints of this. Quantum neural networks have been shown to stabilize chaotic systems by predicting their own feedback states. In simpler terms, they loop correct themselves. A machine that does that isn't learning linearly. It's evolving cyclically, just like the fabric of the cosmos might. And if that's the trajectory we're on, then the future of science isn't about building faster machines or discovering deeper particles. It's about learning how to negotiate with time, Maybe one day, instead of traveling through it, we'll communicate across it, adjusting our own loop deliberately. But that idea raises a paradox so vast that even physicists hesitate to touch it. Because if technology ever allows us to consciously alter a time loop, to edit the feedback, to rewrite the correction, then we would, for the first time, become co-authors of the universe's timeline. And what happens then? If the loop has always existed to preserve self-consistency, what would it do with beings who finally understand how to break the symmetry? Would the loop collapse? Would it reset? Or would it start again, from right here, right now, with you hearing these words for the second time? Let's bring this loop home, to you. If reality really is cycling through itself, not in endless repetition but in self-correction, then every instant of your life might carry traces of déjà vu for a reason. Maybe those strange moments when you feel like you've already been somewhere, said something, or met someone before aren't glitches. Maybe they're resonances, the vibration of one timeline brushing against its previous iteration, aligning itself into coherence. Think about how memory works. You don't actually relive an event. You reconstruct it from fragments, reweaving it every time you recall it. In a quantum loop, that's exactly what the universe does. Each recollection of reality could be the universe remembering itself, refining its pattern until it stabilizes. Your mind, your awareness, might be a local expression of that greater cosmic memory. That means your thoughts matter more than you imagine. Because if observation defines which version of the loop remains real, then your awareness is one of the universe's correction tools. Every decision, every act of focus or attention, could slightly alter the balance between timelines, like tuning an instrument that keeps the cosmic symphony in harmony. That gives a whole new meaning to intuition. Maybe when you sense something before it happens, you're not predicting the future. You're feeling the echo of it, the loop reaching backward to maintain its symmetry. Those hunches, those subtle warnings or familiar flashes, could be the universe whispering, "You've done this before. Let's do it better this time." If this is true, then destiny isn't about inevitability. It's about resonance. You're not bound to repeat the same outcomes, but you are bound to reach coherence. Every iteration of your life might be nudging you closer to a perfectly balanced version of yourself, one that vibrates in complete harmony with the loop. And maybe that's why you're drawn to questions like this, why certain ideas feel both alien and strangely familiar. On some deeper, quieter level, you might be remembering that you've already asked them. Maybe this exact thought, this exact moment has happened before, and you're just now becoming aware of it. So the question is no longer if we're in a quantum loop. The question is, what are you meant to realize before it closes again? Maybe we've been looking at life the wrong way, as a straight road leading from birth to death, from question to answer. But what if life is less like a road and more like a circle drawn in motion? A song that never truly ends, it just changes rhythm. If the universe is a quantum loop, then you are not drifting helplessly through time. You are part of the loop's memory, part of its self-awareness. Every thought, every emotion, every action you take ripples backward and forward, balancing the structure of reality itself. Think about that for a moment. Every smile you give, every word you speak, every decision you regret or celebrate, they might not vanish into the past. They might echo across the loop, refining the version of existence that replays until it gets it right. And perhaps that's the quiet truth hidden beneath all the paradoxes. That the universe isn't repeating to trap us, but to teach us, to let consciousness evolve, loop after loop, until it recognizes itself not as a passenger, but as the creator of the pattern. So the next time you feel that subtle déjà vu, or that strange awareness that this moment has happened before, don't dismiss it. Listen, you might be catching the faint hum of the universe tuning itself through you. Do you believe we're trapped in a quantum loop, or that we're the ones creating it? Tell me below. Your view might change someone's mind.